So far, so good. Oh my goodness. So if you haven't heard, there have been some leaks on Reddit in regards to Marvel's Spider-Man 2, okay? And the person who is allegedly leaking this happens to work for the Traversal team, all right? Now take all this with a grain of salt. None of it's been confirmed, but I thought some of the leaks in this post were very interesting. First things first, the Raimi suit, okay? The God suit, the chosen suit. He claims that it's in there. In fact, all the suits are in there. All the suits from the previous Spider-Man game are now going to be in this game. In addition, they're all now going to have a black, a black suit variation, okay? A symbiote variation, which I thought was very, very interesting. Now, most of them, he says, most of them are just, recolors. Aside from the advanced suit, okay? Because the advanced suit, he says, that it starts off as like a recolor, but over time, it then evolves and becomes more organic. And I like that concept, right? Because the longer Peter wears the suit, I guess more of a connection, the more of a union between the symbiote and himself grows. So it naturally, he says, it turns into more of like a spider symbol like this, but it becomes more veiny. I'm very curious how that, if they do the classic symbiote design, or if they take their little, they have a little Insomniac take on it. Now, the next thing up is going to be the main story. The main story is primarily focused around Peter Parker, okay? Miles is in there. I believe it was like 80-20 or something like that. 80 Peter, 20% Miles. And in the story, he says most of the missions you're going to be able to switch between Peter, Miles, or tag team. Now, I'm not sure what he meant by that because it seems a bit redundant, right? Because if I choose Miles, then obviously I would think you'd be able to tag team Peter, into combat, like they showed in the trailer. And, vice versa. If I tag team, if I play as Peter, I should be able to tag team Miles in the combat. So I'm not sure if he meant that or if there's something else. But regardless, I think that's going to be pretty cool because he also says that they're going to have whoever you choose, that the other person is going to be in the background fighting. And I think we got a little glimpse of this with Miles Morales. Because the Rhino scene is freaking awesome, right? You're chasing Rhino and then you switch between Peter to Miles. And you see, Peter saving people in the background while you're on the Rhino and everything. So they do something like that with combat or while you're web swinging. Because they were talking about as far as they may have, whoever you choose, the other individual, web swing behind you. I think that would be freaking awesome. I love that sequence in Miles Morales, the game. I think that would be really great if they adopted that and put it into this one. The next thing that caught my eye was the wall crawling. They said they're going to completely revamp the wall crawling because apparently a lot of people complain about it. Now here's the thing, right? I know the wall crawling was funky here and there, but if we're going to be honest, who was wall crawling? If we're going to be 100% honest, who was wall crawling? I'm not going to hold that against Insomniac. I'm really not. I know people were, complaining about, oh, the wall crawling is funky. How are you going to have funky wall crawling in a Spider-Man game? That's his main thing. It's like, hey, listen, bruh. I get why wall crawling was on the bottom of the list, okay? We're freaking web swinging. We're doing tricks. We're wall running, diving, dive bombing. Like, bruh, what are you talking about wall crawling? But anyways. They're focusing on wall crawling for those of you that may have been irritated by that. I'm just saying, even in the stealth missions, like maybe back in the day, like in Spider-Man 1 or something, or maybe the older games, you would maybe want to make sure the wall crawling was on point because it was heavily focused on wall crawling. But even the stealth missions here, I don't remember a lot of wall crawling in the stealth missions. You're usually jumping on like beams to beams. I don't recall a lot of wall crawling in the Spider-Man game. I could be wrong. Hear me out. I could be wrong. But I don't recall a lot of the wall crawling, right? Even in the stealth mission. So it is what it is. But happy to hear that they're revamping wall crawling. That now they're even talked about possibly some combat. That is interesting. First you had my curiosity, now you have my attention, okay? Where they're talking about combat, because combat, that's always something that's been exclusive to Web of Shadows. And that's weird to me, right? Why hasn't in any Spider-Man game since then done wall combat? All right, I don't know, maybe if it's a technical difficulty, but I'm like, yo, this way back when, I'm like, surely you can adopt it in a more current game. Because I'm like, yo, fighting on the walls, that was freaking dope. You fight on the front, you fight on the side, fight on the ground, like you can fight anywhere. Now, the next thing that was mentioned was regards to the symbiote suit. One thing that I'm not sure how to take was that there really was no difference in gameplay when you get the symbiote suit, aside from the animations. The animations are different, but gameplay-wise, there really is no difference. And I was like, okay, I don't really have a problem with that per se, because I was thinking of Web of Shadows. I'm like, Web of Shadows aside, like, the gameplay was still the same, right? There wasn't any, like, crazy new mechanic when it came to getting the symbiote suit, right? Like, the animations were different. And I was thinking, is that what this person means by that? Because the animations, you use your tendrils for the punch, you know, for your super move and stuff like that. I'm thinking that's probably what they mean for that. And I don't have an issue with that, okay? I would like if there's maybe one mechanic that the symbiote suit does differently than your regular suit, something like that, just to detach them and to separate them aside from animations. Other than that, it is what it is. One thing he did mention is that with the claws, or I don't know, we'll call them the legs, okay? You know, the legs from the Iron Spider suit, that is now core, okay? That is core, that is canon of the game, apparently. Apparently in the game, he, you know, after he loses the symbiote suit, and it has 4 tendrils that he fights with, he then develops the 4 claws, all right, to replace the tendrils that he lost from the symbiote suit. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you, because I've always, when I see those claws, they're very much one-in-one with the Iron Spider suit. So I don't know how I feel about them now using, you know, the claws or the legs, whatever you want to call them, with the advanced suit. It just seems out of place to me. And, you know, it makes sense based off the trailer because they used it in the trailer. So I was like, okay, this clearly must be a part of the game, right? This must be a core part of the game. The next thing that stuck out to me was the fact that they will be having a night and day cycle. It says it's not permanent, but as of right now, they will be having a night and day cycle. And that is music to my ears. Like, I feel like this is like, come on, this is standard. Like, you should have a night and day cycle just like you should have, you know, Spider-Man web swinging. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about, you know, other things, but when it came to night and day cycle, I didn't even think to put that on the must-have list. Because I was like, of course you're going to have a night and day cycle. We had a night and day cycle with freaking Spider-Man 2, all right? On the what was it, the PS2. Yes, of course you should have a night and day cycle. Now, the last one is going to have to deal with web swing. Because you're right, that was the main focus, my main issue, my main concern on the next day when it came to web swinging. And I don't know, man. I don't know. But based off of what, you know, what they said, now he did admit, she, I don't know what they are, but they did admit that they are early into the game, right? It doesn't come out for another 2 years. So they're early into the game. But as of right now, they said that they increased the speed cap and that you can reel in your web. Something, I'm guessing, something similar to that of the Ultimate Spider-Man, where you crawl up your web line to gain height. And that's all they have right now. That's all they have. That's the mechanics that they have right now. Obviously, they still have, you know, they're incorporating the Miles Morales the trick system, which is cool. But as of right now, the speed cap and reeling your web. We're going to need a little bit more than that, Insomniac. I'm just saying, we're going to need a little bit more than that, okay? So I know people were telling me to watch the evolution of web swinging or the future of web swinging. Watch it, good video. Goes over the trick system, right? An in-depth trick system similar to Tony Hawk. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's great. The problem with that is that we need a way to utilize that trick system. For example, with Tony Hawk Pro Skater, right, 2, imagine the only time you could do tricks is when you were in the air, right? That would severely limit your gameplay. That's what I'm talking about, all right? You couldn't grind, couldn't do ollies or anything like that. Just only time when you hit a ramp and you were in the air, then you could do tricks. And then every time was just was skateboarding, right? The whole point of the trick system is that you can link up different tricks, whether you're on the ground or on the air or on the side of, of a building. You can always link them up to get bigger combos. That's what I'm talking about in Spider-Man, right? The only time you can do tricks is when you let go of the web swing and just, do tricks, and then swing. And it seems limited, okay? We want to expand where we can utilize this trick system if they were to go that route, which I don't have a problem with. I think that'd be really great. So everything that they've actually shown in many of the cutscenes, because I was just thinking, even in Miles Morales, there's a cutscene, if I remember correctly, where he spins around a crane. He does a loop-de-loop. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, like allow us to do loop-de-loops. I know they said they're switching up the physics a little bit, but they still have the magnetism, and what they mean by the magnetism, you know, when you can't really hit a building, and when you do, you go, you know, running up, but you can't hit like the cars. Like if you do a dive bomb at the last second, it'll swing. That's what he means by the magnetism. I'm like, okay, that's great, but there are certain things, even with that magnetism, that you can use. Like even in the game, like in Miles Morales, even there's not a lot of things where you can use the tunnels, the tunnel warp, or I forgot what it's called, right? There are water towers. I'm like, why would they have the tunnel warp near the water towers? Like no one's swinging near the water towers where you can go, you know, zip through it. And I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you incorporate it into the city? For example, the grinding. You can create you know, some of the buildings so you can grind off of them, jump off of them, or slide, or wall glide, right? Because even in the what was it, Web of Shadows, you can wall glide. You can wall glide in the side of the wall and then jump off of that. Like there are ways to make the system they already have, which is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but to improve upon it, okay? To make it flow a little better on things that they've already shown us. That's the crazy part. This isn't even stuff that we suggested or we came up with. This is stuff that you've already shown us in many of the cutscenes. All we're asking is that, hey, you make that real life. And I think they can do that even with the with the magnetism system to an extent. Like that scene in Spider-Man 1 where he goes down and he's in between the cars. They can have that. They can definitely incorporate that, right? Even if there's a car coming, they can have a contextual animation or whatnot there where he swings his body over it and continues on with the animation. They can figure this stuff out, right? They've showed us in the cutscene. All I'm asking, what you showed us, now I want it. I'm sorry. You can say whatever you want. You show me what is possible, what could happen. Now I want it. The whole point is that this is a concrete jungle. So I want to feel like it's a concrete jungle, okay? Other than doing tricks in the air. I want to be able to use the buildings. I want to be able to use the cars around me, the environment. Whether it's, him swinging and doing that, in the cutscene, or giving a high five, whatever it is. I want to feel like I'm a part of New York, part of this, this jungle that I protect. That's what I'm expecting from the game. So far, so good. We're 2 years out, so I'm not going to hold their feet to the fire. I'm sure they're listening, and I'm excited. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe Lucas, I don't know. I think that these leaks are complete BS. I'm not going to trust them. Or if you don't believe, I don't know. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. They sound pretty cool, if they do it. If they don't, we'll find out eventually. Either or, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe. Oh, that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing. Of course, you're going to have a night and day cycle.